Well done to Leslie on getting Melchizedek right twice. It was fantastic. One day we'll do a series on the letter to the Hebrews because it is such a wonderful reading. But people, when they get that reading, they go, "Oh my goodness, what is this? Melchizedek?" You were spot on. Well done. Well, friends, today we meet on the fifth Sunday of Lent in the Anglican tradition. But our fifth Sunday is dedicated to holding our parish AGM, which I mentioned at the beginning of our service. And I wanted to just use my sermon time today to reflect on where God has taken us and perhaps try and predict, although how can you predict what God is doing, where God might take us in the next year as well. Friends, 2023 began with me absent for 5 weeks while I travelled to Canterbury Cathedral for the Seminarians and New Priests program, which brought clergy together from all over the Anglican communion to talk about what it was like to be a new priest, or about ready to be a new priest as well. And as I begin my report today to the congregation, I just want to say a few things. I want to extend my gratitude to all of you, whether you've been here since you were really, really little, or whether you have recently joined us in worship. It's been a privilege to bear witness to your resilience and your strength and your commitment to Jesus. It is a real privilege. Now, I've only been part of our church community for 2 years. I want to bring this message of thanks to all who worship in this place, in Clarencetown, and of course at Bendolba as well. When I arrived home from England at the beginning of last year, our parish faced a number of distressing pastoral situations that impacted all of our lives. We lost a number of our friends and our loved ones, and in 2023, we began the year in grief, and I grieved with you through these times. And I reflected with my colleagues a little bit on the great trust you have placed in me to lead our parish through these difficult times and to hold this grief with you. And that is a great privilege, and I know that it has not been easy to do that. But I want to also thank the members of Parish Council, our wardens, secretary, treasurer, synod representatives for all of your service to support me as rector during 2023. But there are countless others who also donate their time as well, who might not hold an official role, but certainly there are those who clean our church centres, arrange our flowers, mow our lawns, cook the food, donate the food as well, and so on, print and distribute our resources. I thank all of you. This cannot happen without a team, and it is really, really important that I make that very clear, my great and deep gratitude to you. Friends, when I was commissioned here 2 years ago, it was on the feast of the conversion of St. Paul. So it was the day he found Jesus Christ on the way to Damascus. And I went, oh man, what an awesome day to be commissioned, because my first and foremost priority as a priest is mission. Mission is the one thing that I am passionate about. I'm passionate about loving everybody too, but mission to tell Jesus Christ's story. That's what it says in the gospel. I will draw everybody to me. Mission is my focus. Now, mission can have a bit of a dual meaning. It can mean, overseas endeavours. People can go on a mission trip. But in the context of what I'm talking about today, mission is used in the local context. So we're bringing the gospel to our community, the people next to us, the people near us, the people in town, the people in Clarencetown, and the people out on properties out at Bendolba. Friends, mission is also at the forefront of the Anglican Church and the Anglican Communion. And as part of that commitment to mission, they've actually, I say they've, as if it's new, but it's been around since the 80s, the 5 marks of mission. So the Anglican Communion around the world identifies 5 things that we can do as a church that promote mission. The first one is to proclaim the good news of the kingdom. Now, last year, it was my intention, as it is this year, to place this mark of mission at the heart of all our parish activities. There's data that suggests that 4 in 10 Australians are open to an invitation to church. 4 in 10. That's a fair bit. That's a fair few people. With this in mind, I have noticed that we've able to avoid significant church decline by seeing about a 30% increase in our attendance here at the 8:30 service in Dungog. We're seeing growth at Clarence Town Centre as well, where we celebrated the sacrament of confirmation in 2023, which was wonderful. We also witnessed 3 adult confirmations and reception into the Anglican Church of Australia here at our Dungog Centre. 5 adults, friends, coming to faith like this is remarkable and unheard of at times. And I thank God for the privilege of people coming to faith in this place. We were fortunate as well to celebrate a parish wedding this year, where we were able to witness Jesus Christ placed firmly at the centre of a new marriage. And this was the first marriage I had ever celebrated. So thanks to Dennis and Donna for the privilege of allowing me to do that. My first ever wedding was in the parish of Dungog. So you'll be able to take that with you forever. Reverend Kim's first wedding was in the parish of Dungog. In 2022, we launched Sunday night contemporary service, and in 2023, we see a trending younger demographic of worshippers, people who prefer evening worship on a weekend, or those who prefer a more relaxed approach to church, or enjoy expository preaching, or just a family-friendly service. And the meal at the end of the service has been such a wonderful time of friendship and pastoral care for people, to get to know people in our community better as well. That has been the real cornerstone of that service. I'd like to think it's the preaching, but I actually think it's the food. And that's okay, I can cope with that. I'm humble enough. But thank you to all who make that happen, because it is a wonderful service and certainly provides for people in our community. St. Peter's in the Paddock was certainly the highlight of our missional activities in 2023. That's been a huge success, a bit of a sleeper success. I actually didn't think it'd be that successful, but at its launch we had 50 people attend, and we regularly see attendance of about 20 to 25 people, depending on the weather, because it can get very hot out at St. Peter's Bendolba, and it can also get very cold out at St. Peter's Bendolba, so it just depends, but it has actually been a really wonderful mark of mission for us to bring some new people to our church and just see what we do. It doesn't have to always look like this, but this is our main service, but the other ones don't have to look like a regular Anglican church service to make mission happen. So thank you so much to those who make that happen as well, because there's a bit of work that goes into catering out there too. So thank you to all who are part of that too. Friends, I've tried to model how to invite others to church to equip you, the saints, with the lowercase s, the saints, with the skills needed to answer the big questions, or at least to be able to refer to someone who might know, right? That's the idea. If you don't know an answer to a question, know who to refer the person to. Friends, churches that place the Great Commission at the front of their mission plan are churches that thrive. They're churches that grow. They're churches that are healthy. This is because the church is Jesus' church, and we're called on mission with him through our baptism. It's Jesus' church. We're here to make it happen with him. I preached through Easter in 2023 on the Why Jesus series and our Nicene Creed series, which helps us all know who we are and where we are going as Anglican Christians. Bible Sunday was and our mission lunch, was a wonderful way for us to celebrate the gift of the Bible in our lives. We are biblical Christians here at the Anglican Church. We are scripture loving. We had over 50 people attend church that day, as well as over 90 attending our lunch afterwards, which was a great success. And that helps us tell the good news of the kingdom. There's a Roman Catholic priest named Father James Mallon, and he wrote a wonderful book called Divine Renovation about missional churches. And he said, if our churches become places where there is meaningful community, clear expectations, a focus on gifts, and an intentional system of small and middle-sized groups, then those who come and see will be far more likely to stay and tell. That's what I want our story to be at the Anglican Parish of Dungog. It's God who gives us the strength to grow. We're responsible for the invite, but we're not responsible for the response. And it often takes about, as many of you know, 5 to 10 people to talk to and invitations before you get a yes. My friend always says every no is closer to a yes. So I encourage you, if you've had heaps of no's so far, to continue the invite, because someone will say yes and they will come and see. Our second mark of mission is to teach, baptise and nurture new believers, which is the second most important mark of mission in terms of growth, church growth, which is intentional discipleship. We have baptised several new believers in 2023, with one person asking for baptism at our Sunday night service after responding to the gospel. They were there and they said, "Could I be baptised?" I'm like, absolutely, let's do it right now. Although maybe we'll wait and we'll have a big day for you, but I really wanted to do it right now. But that is gospel growth, friends. Wednesday night growth has been one of my favourite activities this year, and we regularly see around 13 to 15 people on a Wednesday night. And we've studied various topics. We can talk about those another time, but there's been many. And particularly in that group, I've been privileged to venture into the hard places of people's lives in community as they walk the way of Jesus together in this small group. Wednesday night growth has demonstrated that it's small groups that pastorally care for each other and that learn the way of Jesus together. It's an effective model of renewal. It's actually called the remnant. So you empower the remnant and the church grows out of that. In 2024, we're exploring unlocking our key chain leaders to expand Wednesday night growth as well. We've also moved away from the practice of private baptism, except in extreme pastoral circumstances. And this has led to people who attend church regularly asking to be baptised. As I mentioned, we had that at Sunday night. This is an early church model of baptism. In fact, you had to be coming to church for 3 years before you were baptised in the early church, but we're not quite that strict. But certainly that is a model that promotes church growth. The practice of intentional discipleship, friends, that is making disciples of Jesus, is actually what our purpose is here as a church. We make disciples of Jesus. While we're making disciples of Jesus, we have a safe community to maintain. And the reality of my life as a priest is that there is considerable administration duties now with our new parish compliance model. Now, I'm spending probably about a day a week, roughly, on administration paperwork. Our parishes are being regularly audited for safe ministry practices, and this is not a bad thing. This is a really, really important thing to maintain a safe church structure for children and for vulnerable people as well. It has changed how I spend my time at some points, and we probably do have to start to let go of the idea of what priests look like in days gone, because it looks very different now. And we're finding the tension that exists between that. I find it very hard because I go, oh my goodness, I'm a priest, not an administrator. But part of my role is to be a good administrator for the parish. So that's part of what I'm doing. However, I try to be an intentional pastoral carer as well, because I'm a firm believer in care for others is what helps us to grow the church. There are many of you who are involved in pastoral care ministry in an informal manner as well as a formal manner, and I want to thank you for your patience with me, but also with each other as you care for one another in this space. The third mark of mission, friends, is to respond to human need by loving service. And we are really fortunate here at this parish to be able to afford a full-time incumbent, which just means me, because it's largely due to the hard work of our op shops. We've got one here at Dungog and another one at Clarencetown. So once again, thank you to all of those people who coordinate the op shops, who volunteer at the op shops, who give their stuff to the op shops, in whatever way you contribute to that ministry, because it is through that hard work that we are able to afford a full-time incumbent. Cuppa and Chat continues to provide outreach and fellowship to those who are marginalised in our community, and it's been a great joy to visit Cuppa and Chat on a Friday and say good day to everybody. And it is a wonderful example of how outreach contributes to the mission of the church. By dropping in there, I actually have a chance to invite people to church and ask how they're going and so on and so forth. So it's been a wonderful opportunity. Thank you to the people who run and volunteer at Cuppa and Chat. Our Dungog Centre hosted the Palliative Care Memorial Service, our SRE assemblies, Mothers Union events, including our musical afternoon. I was Also part of Dungog RSL's efforts on Anzac Day, and privileged to be a part of the 2023 service down at the RSL. I was also appointed RFS chaplain this year for the area, and contact with the senior RFS chaplains to look at what this role looks like within our area as well. All of these outreach opportunities give us a chance to show the community our commitment to responding to human need. The fourth mark of mission, friends, is to transform unjust structures of society, to challenge violence of every kind, and pursue peace and reconciliation. Now, we're a local church, so world peace is probably, we can pray for that, but we're probably not going to be instrumental in that happening. But our existence here in our communities serves as a reminder to our communities here, Clarencetown and Bendolba, of the presence of God here in our town. God is present within our towns. Our op shops directly challenge injustice through poverty, helping people be alleviated from struggles of everyday life. And our meals at Sunday night and St. Peter's in the Paddock also challenge this injustice as well. In 2024, I've partnered with Dungog Youth and interagency networks to explore our youth services for 2024 too. That's a work in progress, but know that that's happening from my end as well. The final mark of mission, friends, is to strive to safeguard the integrity of creation and sustain and renew the life of the earth. Now, this I put together before we had although it is last year's report, so it's okay. We just recently had a service at St. Peter's Bendolba where we blessed some saplings and people took them home to plant as commitment to the communion forest. I'll talk more about that next year because that was actually this year's. Anyway, our parish, friends, is located on the lands of the Warramai people, whom we pay respects and acknowledgement. We also know in our time, or I've also learnt in our time here, that for all people in our congregations, both Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal, that have a deep connection to country, be it through dairy farming, graziers, or connection with animals and crops. We're a rural community. We have connections to the land in that way. So it's important that we work towards safeguarding the integrity of that creation. We recycle our leftover pew booklets, although I don't think there's any left over today, which is wonderful. We use reusable plates and cups and so on and so forth to make sure our impact on the environment is lessened. Our Clarencetown Centre, St John's, also held its Harvest Festival recently, but also last year, that demonstrated our love and care of creation. And our new rectory in Hillview Avenue is fitted with solar panels as well and water-saving devices, so our impact on the environment is lessened. I also ensure that plastic and aluminium recycling happens in the rectory. As people know who have been to my house for growth group, I've got a lot of Pepsi Max cans. Friends, you'll notice that I have used the word privilege a great deal in my Rectors report for the past year, 2023. And that's because it is a privilege and it's an honour to be your priest for last year and this year is what I'm trying to say. You've allowed me to become part of your community and embraced my passion with open arms, because I know it can be scary when someone gets up here and they're really excited about Jesus and you, oh my goodness, what am I going to do with this energy? But thank you very much. I love you all very much, and I think that this is one of the communities I've served in. I've never really met a community more excited for mission and evangelism than I have in Dungog Parish. All of this makes my work as a priest so much easier and a great joy. So thank you all for your support in 2023. And I really look forward to seeing how God uses us in 2024 for his great mission to bring the good news to the whole world. Amen.